Dana White's Contender Series is back, and we have 5 fights at the UFC Apex tomorrow night. And I'm going to go over each and every fight, as always, starting at the bottom, working my way to the top. So let me know in the comments what you guys like on this fight and who you guys have bet. There are some pretty competitive fights. There's probably going to be a couple beatdowns, and I'm not going to lie to you. I always got to try to be honest with y'all. This is probably one of the lower level weeks of Contender Series for this season. We'll get into that, and they have continued the trend of probably the lowest level fight in the main event. Seems like they do that a lot. No disrespect, because I do, kind of like these guys, but just being honest. But I'm going to go over each and every fight. So make sure you like the video, click subscribe, turn your post notifications on, because I am going to be dropping content all week for UFC Noche Saturday night, and we will have Wager Wars 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. So don't miss out on that. If you do miss it live, you can catch it in the live tab. But we can get into the first fight on the card. We got Felipe Franco taking off Freddie Vidal. There is no tape on these guys. I was able to watch a couple of both of their fights, but Vidal only has 3 professional fights. He's a Serra Longo guy, but he took this fight on short notice. Franco had 2 other potential opponents. And it's just, they got this guy on less than a week, and he misses weight by 4 pounds. And then you watch his fights, and it's very low level. And Longo Serra is a great gym, but and at least he had some amateur fights and finished these guys, but it's just the lowest of low competition. You watch these guys he's fighting, and it looks like they've never done any training. It's just bad. And then this Franco's opponents are honestly potentially worse. Just abysmal competition. He's beat one guy who had wins, and the guy also had 16 losses. Has lost a couple more fights since then. Just a atrocious level of competition. And this guy is another one from this Gal Pao gym with Jalton Almeida. People were like, oh, so he's got to be good, right? Don't forget about Rafael Cerqueira, all right? It's a low-level fight. Both these guys want to get on top. Not that they're super high-level wrestlers, but Vidal is going to obviously have a bit of a size advantage. He looked bigger in the stare-downs. He missed weight. He is the bigger guy, but Franco looks way more he always is more, more of a ripped, in shape type of more physically imposing guy, but at the same time, it looks like he had a full camp, and Vidal not so much. They're both super wild and reckless, man. I wouldn't be trying to bet Franco at this type of odds, even though he's on full camp, especially with the weight disadvantage and all that. Just the odds are too wide, and this guy's fought absolutely nobody. But at the same time, do I really want to put my hard-earned money on this Vidal guy who's probably should be fighting amateur fights still at this point? He is just not there. So I'll go Franco, TKO. But if Vidal is able to get on top, it could get dicey. This is just a low-level fight, man. I'm sorry. I got to be honest. I like to be respectful to these guys. They're fighting for their dreams out here, trying to go to the UFC, but I gotta be honest with you guys. It's very low level. Next up, we got Chasen Blair taking on Samuel Sanchez. You probably remember Blair from Cage Warriors. Shout out Harry Hardwick. Just faded his ass so hard, and not a big fan of him. So also took some pleasure in watching him get beat up by Kyle Fernandez. But after talking endless crap about people who have 25 UFC fights, you come in and have to get wheelchaired out in your first one. But it's pretty often the case for these Cage Warriors guys, no disrespect. They just don't cut it in the UFC a lot of times. And Blair, really, you watch a lot of these fights. He hasn't even fought the best guys over there, really. He's fought some of their better guys, but, and it's, his losses are to pretty tough competition. Cody Steele's a beast, and, even though everybody hates him now, rightfully so, piece of shit. This Hazanzada guy, he actually has very, I don't even want to get into it, but a bad court case going on right now. So But he beat Blair. Can't even admit or can't even lie. Dude's pretty good. But at the same time, I mean, pretty doesn't have like any real notable wins. I mean, his jiu-jitsu's good. He was a college wrestler and he wrestled like 185 or something. He was so much bigger. So I mean, you would think it would carry over more, but for somebody who has like pretty high level collegiate experience wrestling, he doesn't really. You wouldn't really think it. I mean, I don't know. The wrestling never looks like that great in there, and then at the same time, he's also like he's not that physically imposing either. I mean, I actually think he's going to be at a pretty big disadvantage there with Sanchez, who's probably, I mean, who is bigger and also, just more athletic, just, going to be faster, stronger. But I mean, maybe that height could work against them with Blair. Maybe we'll see that wrestling background shine here and get under the hips and take him down because if Blair takes him down, it's going to be dangerous. This is like even money right now. It's like minus 110 both ways. I think I got to be on the Sanchez side. I think I'm just not impressed with Blair's striking, and even though you would think he has all the wrestling credentials, maybe he shows it more in this fight. But I just haven't been super impressed from what I've seen on the tape with Blair's wrestling, and I've watched a lot of his fights live because he's been on Cage Warriors a lot. I just think Sanchez can piece him up on the feet. I'm a little dicey. Like, I kind of want to bet this because it's even money, and I'm on Sanchez here, and a lot of these lines, it's like, the one that is sticking out to me probably the most. But, man, I never like betting these 22-year-olds with, not the most experience. I mean, he's still pretty green himself. Another one of these Gal Pal guys, so it could go either way. But I am going to go Sanchez. I think this fight ends inside the distance no matter, either way. So I'm going to say Sanchez gets the TKO. And we'll move on to this next one, man. We got Tam Keeg taking on Larry and Douglas. Teague was on the Contender Series last season. He fought Kevin Vallejos, somebody who has a lot of hype right now. Obviously had a good debut himself. But Teague did take that fight on short notice, and he did get 2 more wins since then. I mean, not the highest level of competition, but at least, fought pretty well. And he does have a lot of pace, a lot of pressure. It's just he's a heavy bag. He just gets hit. He's a little, he's not going to have a lot of physical advantages on a lot of these guys besides just like cardio and toughness, Pretty much everybody he fights, like just like the Vallejos fight, Douglas is going to hit harder. He's going to be faster. Probably the more technical striker. Teague's just like a Diaz brother. Like, he's just going to try to beat you on like pace and toughness. Just, eat shots and hope you gas out. And it works a lot. I mean, I don't want to limit him to just that, but he's just not very defensively sound. He typically breaks a lot of these guys just with his pace and pressure. And, we've seen Douglas be pressured, and, I don't think he fights that well off his back foot. So, I do think this line's getting a little crazy because, what's Douglas at this point? Because I think I saw him I think he's the biggest favorite on the card now, right? This line's been growing. Minus 700. And, I think plus 525 is starting to get borderline. I might have to take a shot because I do feel like, Douglas can be pressured. And off the back foot, I don't know if he's nearly as dangerous. So, if Teague can't get him backing up, that would be his best bet. But I do feel like Douglas gets the win here, man. So I'm going to go Larry and Douglas. I think he's improved a lot. These last couple performances, he's looked a lot better. It seems like he's putting it together more. He is 30, coming into his own, I think. And the record isn't as good as a lot of these guys coming to Contender Series. But you got to look past that. Actually, I think he is better than the record. Clearly, the line makers agree. But at the same time, Teague's he's a big dude. Like frame wise, and he's got a chin. He's durable, and that Vallejos fight was short notice, and Vallejos is good. I don't know if Douglas is quite Vallejos on the feet, but he probably is going to get him out of there. I'm going to say second round TKO by Douglas, and we will move on to the first female fight on Contender Series this season. We got Chanel Dyer, taking on Carol Fora. And, pretty honestly good fight here. Both these girls look pretty solid. I think that Dana's really been trying to keep this Contender Series filled with finishes and just set the tone. I mean, after the first episode kind of didn't shine, it seems like even more so. I mean, honestly, I think dude from Chapol or wow, what's his nickname? Dude from last Henriquez from last week. If he would have. If he would have got the finish, he definitely would have got in. But I honestly think he was the best fighter on the card, and so they're trying to be picky and they're trying to only have like exciting fights. And I think they haven't wanted to have a ton of female fights on this. They've been trying to just keep them like insane. And I think this one could really be a finish, man. I think both these girls are gonna, I think they both could be in the UFC. The only problem, man, for Carol is she's just so small. Like she's gonna be at a size disadvantage in like every fight, and she kind of reminds me of like she's kind of I mean, there's not a direct comparison just because of that Luke Boone me, like she's like her size, but honestly she fights more like a Jessica Andrade or something. But just comes forward, throwing big bombs. She actually has good kicks. I saw her drop a girl with a spinning back kick to like right on the liver. Definitely nice. But I mean, Dyer, speaking of kicks, is mostly known for that head kick knockout she had. She's definitely the more polished. I mean, they're both pretty good strikers, but if you were to watch both of them hit pads, you're gonna think that she's gonna be the better striker. But she's gonna be a lot bigger. She's coming down. She's fought at 125, but at the same time, she can get a little wild sometimes too. I think they're both good, and even though she's undefeated, we did see some which I like to see the experience, but she did lose. Speaking of Shauna Bennett from last card, lost to her, was finished and dropped by a head kick. And then Petrovic, who, that hasn't aged the best, but, still a UFC fighter, better than most of these girls are ever going to fight on the regional scene. So, still good experience and, but she is super young, and I think 4-0 does have a lot of power for the division, especially for how tiny she is. Oh, man, I think they're probably going to mostly strike. Both these girls typically just want to strike, and that's why I think the UFC is banking on this to be like, they're going to shine for the women, and I think, could be a finish, but honestly, I think it's going to be a decent fight, but I am going to say it goes 15, and I'm going to say Dyer takes it. Definitely both have the power, and they throw, with Dyer with the head kicks, and really with 4-0 with everything. They're throwing power, so there could be a finish. But I'm going to lean Dyer. I'm going to say Dyer gets it done by decision. And we can move on to the main event. I'm sorry. I really have tried to not say this the past couple of weeks because it's like a lot of times these Contender Series fighters actually do watch the videos. Like, not just mine, but like it seems like a lot of these guys do end up watching. And I don't want to disrespect them for no reason. They're fighting the biggest fight of their lives, and I'm not trying to be here crapping on them. I just don't think these are the best two. These are the best. This is the best fight on the card. That's all. And it's weird. They've been doing that a lot lately. But, look, this Anthony Garasio dude, I mean, it's great. Anthony Garasio, Steven Asplund. I just realized I didn't even say that. And Garasio, 3-0. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out what happened here. I mean, he knocked the guy out, and then this guy has some other fights that have been turned into no contest. So did this guy fake the knockout? I mean, it looked a little odd, but I don't know. I hate to just assume that, but he's really not that big. I mean, there's going to be a sizable advantage here with the weight and just the frame. I mean, this dude Asplund was like 550 pounds at some point, like legit, like fucking huge. And, he's got a pretty interesting story, obviously. But he's, I've been following the guy for a while. We've been following each other for like a couple of years. So, I am a fan of the guy, as I just I got to be honest with you guys, but as I just crapped on him. But, it is, it's a heavyweight fight. And both these guys are pretty green. Asplund is a lot bigger, but, Garasio does have hands. He is doing this training camp in his garage, though. Even though I've seen him get some high-level training in, but apparently he's doing this camp in his garage, and I don't know, man. He is a lot smaller. I mean, it's probably going to be a Garasio knockout or Asplund takes over later because, man, for somebody who was like 550 pounds, this dude's cardio is pretty good. And a lot of his wins, he really doesn't have much power. For a guy that's that big, 260 plus pounds, like, he doesn't really throw with a ton of power. They're like little pop shots a lot of times. Like, he's just peppering you and gets you tired. And I mean, he's just all heart. So, I mean, doesn't have like a lot of physical gifts, man. But that's why people love him. Is, dude, he's just like your average guy, lost weight, getting in there. He's not the most technical. You know, there's gonna be a hands, disadvantage there and a striking. But maybe Asplin can make it dirty. I don't think he's gonna like shoot a takedown. I'd be a little surprised, but he could put him up against the cage. I've seen him do some good clinch work, and he is a lot bigger. So probably gonna be a lot stronger. Especially, man, I feel like the dudes who walk around that big and then they lose weight, man, like they're freaking. His legs are strong. He's gonna be a lot stronger. So maybe he can big brother Anthony a little bit. So I honestly do think Asplin's a live dog, but I don't know, man. I think he would be one. If I was out of these bets, he's definitely in the top 3 of the ones that I'm considering. But I am going to say Gracio first round knockout because there's going to be a huge speed advantage, man. And he is the better striker. So those are my picks, man. As far as betting, I mean, I think Asplin's a live dog. I'm considering Sanchez like even money right now, minus 110 on a couple books. And then, it's like, if Cam Teague or Vidal get too crazy, because Vidal with the weight, it can get a little even more, high variance. And then Teague is a dog, man. He's somebody that when you start getting as a big underdog, he's somebody who his style, man. You never want to completely count that out. Yeah, he's given up a lot of physical advantages here, but if he doesn't get put down in that first like 7.5 minutes, I could definitely see him taking over. I think I'm going to pass on the woman fight because I do lean Dyer, and I don't think that line's going to move too much. So that's kind of where I'm at, man. But let me know what you guys are thinking. I'll post on X, Twitter, what I end up doing, Cody MMA. And make sure you check out Wager Wars at Wager Wars MMA as well. I do all the Wager Wars episodes here of the live tab, but if you want to check the rankings and all that, follow the X or Twitter. Man, let me know what you guys are betting. Like this video, click subscribe, turn your post notifications on. I'll catch you tomorrow for UFC Noche, and until then, peace.